Hello, good evening to May 17th, Tuesday. Today I wish to introduce a logic flow of how to convert an Excel file into a SQLite database. Why we have to do this? Because Excel is an excellent tool, but it's not so easy to do relational database operation. And suppose we have a lot of tables we want to manipulate it as a relational database. It's not very convenient to use Excel, but using SQLite is much easier. But maybe you have already hundreds of spreadsheets, workbooks in Excel that if you convert it to SQLite is not that easy. But using my logic flow, I think you can also design a system that do the automatic conversion. Because I use a lot of classes and for the major operation, therefore I may not explain in detail the code, but I only showed the logic flow. Now suppose we have a workbook here, and I open it first. That is the workbook. We have two sheets. One is sheet 1 and sheet 2. Sheet 1 is one I downloaded from internet. It's a free sample for addresses. And this I make another sheet, just an example, in order to show how we can convert to SQLite using an Excel workbook that with two sheets, multiple sheets, maybe many sheets. It is okay. But the program will do everything in a short time. Okay. Next, we'll do this. Next, you find out the sheet names. Sheet names in my class. I made it one line statement here to get a sheet name, but actually you can design your own using open py Excel, import the load workbook, and you have that a function to find out the sheet names. And I will test it. That's the two sheet name. You can use the sheet name as a table name in the SQLite, but because it's not so good in all the Microsoft products that they have a space in between. That's not good. So I have to convert it in this statement with a space with underscore. We'll come to that soon. Now I will take the sheet names as tables as sheet names. No, I think this no, this statement useless. Now I will have for every sheet names, I will convert to matrix. I use the term matrix, but for some people it just means a list of lists. Okay, a list of tuple. Okay, I call it matrix, and I have a class to convert it to matrix using pandas. That is, say the workbook is in Excel, and I will use pandas, convert it to a data frame, and then to a matrix. And that actually we can use the pandas read Excel function, and that's not difficult for those who know it. I will not go to details, but anyway, the logic flow is that I would convert the Excel for that sheet, for that particular sheet, to a matrix. Okay. And then I will have the columns for the SQLite. That is the first row of the matrix, and that column, and then the rest will be the data with all the rows. And then I will test it, see whether it works. It takes a while because conversion. So for the first sheet, and that is the column, right? Name, address line, address true, and that these are the data. And so these will be available, get ready for conversion into the SQLite. And that is for the first sheet. And for the second sheet comes the name, and that's my added example for the second sheet. Okay, that works. Okay, now that is important. So the columns that I mentioned earlier, I don't want a space between. You have to change with underscore. You can test it or without test it, doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, they test it again because it's not very important then at the moment. Then you see the column name now with the underscore. Okay. Now, that is the important part. In my class, I would convert each of the columns into a tuple with description of tags and whether further attribute. At the moment, to make it simple, I make every column to be of text rather than integer or whatever. And I have no attribute, no say not null or null. I make it empty first for the moment. In SQLite language, all this will be in capital letters, okay? But in my class, I have make it lowercase, and in the class I would convert it to capital. So you can test it, see whether this conversion is correct. So now this is the column that's suitable in the secure language. That would be a list of tuples with the name and then the description of the type. Okay, I make it text, all text first, and that's kind of simple. But of course, if you can make the program a little bit more complicated with auto detection whether the integer or other type. Okay. So I just show the logic flow. You can do your own. Okay. And then I would get a database name. I will use the workbook name and remove the extension. Actually, I have my class like this. It's much more illustrative. Get a base name without the extension. But you can do the same thing using this one line here. Adapt the database name to workbook name and split with the dot and with the first one, and but this one is actually with the assumption that you don't have other dot in the file name. Okay. And the table sheet name also I don't want to have. I will replace it with a space with underscore. And that is the important part, that I have a class for the actually you need to import the SQLite 3 in a Python, and then you can do your own code how to do it, create a table and add the records. Okay. I won't go into detail, it's not that difficult, that only I grouped all the functions into a the class. So I just call that class, and then I have one line and do the things. Okay. So that's it, and that's all the code, and I will run it. Now, so this is a SQLite browser, and you can see now I created with two sheets, two tables with the same sheet name as the Excel, and got an ID and with all the columns according to the first row of the Excel. And I can browse the data. Here we have automatically get ID, the name, address line 1, address line 2, and telephone number. And then the second sheet is much simpler because as my added example, you got the ID, the name, company, and so on. So that's it, and it works. So no matter how complicated, this Excel sheet actually have 100 records. So no matter how long it is, how large it is, it can be run very fast to convert it to the SQLite. And using SQLite, I think is more interesting than using a Microsoft Access. Microsoft Access also can do relational database operation, but I think using Python together with SQLite will be a better solution if you want to do the relational operation. In Excel we can also do that, but then we have to, you must have a column with the ID, and then to another worksheet you use VLOOKUP, and then you can also do some relational operation. That's also possible. Okay, this is the sharing of my ideas of the logic flow, but for each of the line itself may take some code. And for example, in this one, you can see how to create table. Then you have to key embedded in some of the language of the SQLite with the connection, the cursor, commit, clone, and so on. But I think it's not that difficult. Everybody can do it. Okay, that's it. And if you happen to come across with this video and find it, like it, and you may subscribe to my channel, and I will also share some of my other ideas when in the course of my work using Python and Emacs, or during some of the studying of the new technologies such as the Kiwi, MD, and so on. If any ideas, I will share in this channel. Thank you, and have a nice evening in Hong Kong time now, and look forward to talk to you again in the near future.